All right, and welcome back to Fright Film Freaks episode, Stephen, 5.
Bye.
Hey! All right, all right. Got our friend Jared here with us. Jared, say what up.
How's it going? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem, man. We are talking Freddy's Revenge, huh?
Yep.
Yes.
All
So
right.
this month we did a random Nightmare on Elm Street,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
part two got picked. Freddy's Revenge.
Man, this movie is batshit crazy, man. It it goes I forgot how fast this franchise goes off the rails. You know what I mean? Like it just
Yeah,
all of a sudden goes off the rails like in part two. You're like, yep, we're going all out.
yeah, they had no plans for a franchise or sequels, so it just I don't know. It takes a weird direction for sure.
Does so early. You figure like that, in most franchises, the first like three movies are like pretty tamed, and this one is just like, yeah, we're gonna add like Rottweilers with faces on them, and like fucking rats that go crazy, cats that go crazy. Like, I
I
mean,
put
it's off
the
the
uh
walls, man.
I put the dogs on my list of like one of my favorite points in the movie because it's
Yeah,
just
it's
so out
crazy.
there.
It
And only
reminds
for a
me.
second.
It's true. It reminds me of like a Pennywise like fear tactic, like it's like placed there as like, oh, don't come in. We're gonna get you, but not really. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
they
It's a
don't do anything.
well, it's because like, what are the dogs gonna do? I mean, in real life, like they couldn't see shit probably. You just put these masks on these dogs or something, and they're like, what do we do? Um,
I really wish we were at the producers table when they were like, "How about we just put baby faces on dogs?"
yeah,
Perfect.
seriously, seriously, so weird, man. Or the rat coming up, and then like, I mean, there's some brilliant shit in the movie though. There's some parts where Freddy looks truly terrifying in this movie, I have to say. And
Yeah, the
I kind of forgot about that, he's got some sinister eyes in this movie and he looks good, man.
yeah, and like the first 10 minutes, that close up when he's talking to Jesse
Yeah.
is the makeup does look very different in this movie than the first one and then the ones that come after.
Yeah, when he like comes out of Jesse's body for the first time. First of all, brilliant. The scene obviously when he comes out of the stomach, it's like it gets a little like wacky because like you see the prosthetic like head of Jesse kind of just like flopping in the background, which is like obviously so 80s, so it's fine. But particularly when his hand starts to turn is like awesome.
Yeah.
It looks great, man. Like I was like, dude, this is awesome. Like I forgot how good that looks, and then it gets a little wacky after that. But
Yeah, with the eyeball in the throat.
yeah, 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 it gets a little. And when you see the prosthetic head, it just kind of takes you out of it for a second. But I'm sure back in, what was this, 87? Is that what it was? 84?
84, I think.
84? Okay, okay. Yeah, I mean, back then, I mean, I'm sure you weren't really paying attention to that. You were just like, holy shit, something's coming out of his fucking stomach?
Yeah, and the
But
grain of the film, you're only
yeah,
seeing
yeah.
so much. That's what's so great about that era of watching them in that format
Mhm.
was it was very easy to get immersed into it. Now you have high def and
Yeah, yeah,
much more
and
critical.
yeah, I watched it in widescreen, and the version I have has both, and I always watch it in full screen. I decided to watch it in widescreen, and it still looked fine, still had like the cool grain to it, and it still looked all right. Um, but particularly back to what we were talking about with him looking a little different, the makeup, that scene in particular when he comes out, he's much darker and like almost like a brownish color rather than his skin tone with the red, burns and stuff like that. He's like
Right.
all like this weird like color brown for I don't know if it's just a couple frames, but like it feels like that particular scene, I was like, man, that doesn't even look like Robert Englund in there at all. Like
That's what
it
I thought. I had to look it up and was like, wait, Robert Englund played Freddy in this one, right?
Yeah. I was like, did they for that scene dress Patton up as is that his name? Last name Patton? Mark Patton, is that his name? The
Yeah.
guy that
I
plays
think
Jesse?
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, did they dress him up for a second just like to play him for that specific scene? But
That would have been really smart.
I know for sure. And but I had the same thing, man. I questioned it for a second. I was like, man, did Robert Englund maybe only play him in like the beginning and of this movie, maybe? And like but yeah, he looks a bit different and the makeup is a bit different, but there's scenes where he looks like the pool scene where he like there's one scene where the flames are like shooting up in front of him and there's smoke and you just kind of see him through all that like there's a lot of distraction on screen, but you see him through the flames, and I was like, oh man, like I've been thinking about putting together a video for Crooked Crypt channel of like my favorite like shots in movies over over the course of my like horror loving history of
Right.
like just specific shots that I just like fall in love with, like certain pieces of the photography. Um, and I was like, I might have to put this in because it looks just I paused it and you still frame it and you're like, whoa, this is like not cool, man. This is scary as fuck. Like I don't remember it because I didn't see the Freddy movies until I was a little bit older. I didn't see them when I was a kid. I saw the
Right.
Halloween movies. I saw some of the Jason movie, Friday the 13th movies, and so I was a little bit later on the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. So they don't probably don't I don't have that nostalgic tie to them,
Right.
but I was like, oh my God, like this looks good, man. Like this looks really, really good. And there's some parts of the movies in all throughout the franchise that are pretty wacky and quirky and like I don't some of it I don't love, but that he looked good, man. He just looked good. I was like, man, I don't remember him looking this good when I was younger. I was like, dude, this is awesome. Like just really well done by the whole crew to make him look that good. And some of these shots that they had were just unbelievable, man. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but
I can't believe you guys are
Yeah.
skipping the bus scene. I mean, that's probably got to be the best intro to any Freddy Krueger movie. I mean, you see it. You started off with this guy getting on this bus. You automatically see Robert England, a young Robert England, right, as the
right.
bus
Right.
driver. Great cameo. And then and then everyone is getting off except him and like two young ladies, and they drive him off the cliff. And such cool animation you see when like the bus is just landing on one little cliff. It's almost kind of like a Looney Tunes,
Oh, very
like
much so.
yeah, kind
You
of
know,
situation. So what a very cool intro to a movie.
well, on that note, I noticed on rewatching this, the beginning and the end are almost exactly the
Yeah,
same.
yeah.
Like I was like, oh, I
Just
never caught that before, where
just
it's the
more
same, right?
more
And they're
people, right?
flipped.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his roles almost what the girls were doing in the beginning.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. It was, and you always have to have that ending to a Freddy movie, right? Where he's coming
It's
back. Like,
open-ended, yeah.
by the way, we're gonna take more money from you, like in the future.
Yeah, because
Uh,
that was New Line Cinemas. Like that was what they were making money on,
right.
and that film company probably wouldn't have gotten where it is now without Freddy. So
Agreed. Agreed. That's why they made so many, man. I mean, it
yeah,
was,
at least once a year.
yeah. And I mean, I'm really surprised that just to get off topic a little bit. I mean, I know they did I'm surprised we haven't gotten like a legacy movie yet. Like, I know they did the 2010 one, but like, that movie, the more I think about it, like, isn't good by any means, in my personal opinion. But like, where it really failed was he just looked terrible. So I,
Yeah,
so I think people got the impression that like no one else could ever play Freddy. You know what I mean? It was just like it just wasn't gonna work. Where I don't know, maybe there is someone out there that could play him, but like that was just the wrong move. I think the way they made him look was just not good. The voice wasn't very good. He didn't look, it just didn't work. And I think that scared everyone away, like
yeah,
probably forever. But it's interesting that we wouldn't get with all these new, you got the Friday the 13th show coming out. Halloween had its legacy movies and stuff and requels. And so it's interesting that it's never been talked about to bring him back again.
I'm sure it's coming.
Sure,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, never say never, I guess, but it's just like I think that 2010 one, just like people were like, "Oh, they must have been at like the premiere of that and been like, oh, this was a bad move. Like this didn't work at all."
yeah. It's a
Uh,
very forgettable one.
it is. But like the thinking back on it, I'm like, man, the premise to bring him back to like, because really you get the first A Nightmare on Elm Street, and that's like the only one that's much darker than all the others. Then the story, you kind of, as you go on, kind of forget that he's like this child. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
you
they
Yeah.
try
forget
really
that.
hard to brush over that.
Yeah,
Well,
Which,
he became like a pop sensation, they
sure.
kind of had to drop that whole agenda, it's, so because he was everywhere, man. He was like,
Yeah.
it's all over MTV. And I mean, he had almost every piece of merchandise, man.
Oh
I'm pretty
yeah.
sure I had, Freddy Krueger cereal, I'm just kidding, man.
Krugeros.
Yeah, right.
Oh, how about
I,
the cereal in this movie? The Fu Manchus.
Choose,
oh,
yes.
Dude,
yes.
unbelievable. Someone should make that box. I would buy it in a heartbeat just because it would be one of that a piece in my collection that people would be like, what is that? And I'd be like, dude,
Right.
wait, okay. Freddy's Revenge. Go to the first like 11 minutes. Like
And then you
just
3D print some claws to put in it.
yeah, dude, it'd be sick, man. Fu Manchus made me laugh. One thing I'll say, this made my score drop a tad on this movie, okay? I know we're not gonna give our scores yet, but this dropped it a few points. A few things did, but this one in particular. His Jesse's scream, man. I
And that one where it's that super high pitched blood
I
curdling scream.
I couldn't do it. I was like, oh my God, it's just like straight
I
up
replayed
Scream
that.
Queen, man. Scream Queen for sure. I was
Yeah.
like, that is such a weird scream to have, man. Like when he first had a first take of that, they weren't like, okay, we got to switch up, like we got to add a little depth to your voice there, man, because it's a little high pitched, but
I do think it fits with the theme of this movie.
it
So
definitely does. It definitely does. So I get it, but it just didn't seem very like it was just more like every time he screamed, I was like, oh, yeah, there it is. I couldn't get away from it, you know?
right.
But other than that, the actor was great. And Kim Myers is good in it, you know what I mean? And she has a very familiar face. I know she's been in other things, but I just can't pinpoint the. I looked it up and I just didn't recognize any of the things she was really in. There was another killer movie she was in, I think, but I couldn't pinpoint anything, man. And but she has a very familiar face, and I couldn't grasp where she was
Yeah.
from.
Yeah, I'm not recognizing anything. She's from Hellraiser Bloodlines. I've seen that,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah. I
yeah.
talked about the Hellraiser movies with my friend Lydia on the podcast, and I was like, man, those are kind of the same. That's a forgettable franchise as far as like the first one I love. It used to be in my top
Right.
10. Like I love that movie, and then they just get completely fucking bonkers. But another one
Um,
of those, you know?
did you guys catch the sort of Evil Dead reference?
Hmm.
It's the shot going up the stairs, and even the sounds they're playing as they're doing the long shot and opening the doors. It's very reminiscent of like the view from
Oh,
the
I didn't catch
Deadites.
it. So
Oh,
it's
okay,
kind of
that's
like
cool.
shaky cam. Like
Yeah, it's like a
that's
midway
cool.
point to the movie or so. It's when he's going from the basement to his sister's bedroom.
Oh, I do remember that. I do remember that. Gotcha. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, the furnace comes on for a second and the camera
Yeah, and then it
turns and
just
goes up
pans.
the
It's a single
stairs.
shot all the way
Yes,
up.
yes. Yeah, that was cool. That was cool. Also very reminiscent of like the original Halloween, right? From Michael's view as a kid, like starting from outside, going in, grabbing the knife, that kind of thing.
Right.
That's interesting though. Wow. Now what was the original Evil Dead? 81?
Ooh,
Or was that 82? So, I mean, that must have been just a few years before this movie, right?
well, the second one came out 81. What's the first one? Yeah, 81.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
so
just a few
interesting.
years.
Definitely could have been a reference. Holy shit.
What you guys think about the pool scene where all of a sudden everyone can see Freddy Krueger and he's just like chasing everyone around the pool, killing like maybe one or two people, but
Yeah.
just like mainly harassing them.
Mostly
Yeah.
just being a party animal, like just
Yes.
wiping things off the tables and like he does it a few times in the movie actually where they're like, okay, he doesn't kill anybody yet. So what is he gonna do? Like obviously because I feel like he's so iconic because one, you have a lot of silhouette shots of him in a lot of the movies where it's just him in the shadows with a shit ton of fog, right? Obviously, the first one, the most iconic, right? And then him standing still is just like so creepy. When he's just there, all of a sudden you're like, whoa. But him like running and like, you know what
It
I
kind
mean?
of takes you out of it a little
Yeah.
bit, where it's like, okay,
So I
uh,
think there's times where they're like, okay, what is he gonna do in the meantime? We don't have the budget to just have him slash everyone here. So like, yeah, we'll have him knock the hot dogs off the table. He'll flip something, you know what I mean? Or even that scene, Steven, when he like just breaks through the glass and then just disappears completely. And
Yes.
like those four dudes are like, and they like they just creep up to the glass like oh like super weird like they're like yeah, where'd he go? Like this is weird. And then he just like shows up, you know. So funny, man. Like it's so like I mean I'm sure that's the thing with the old movies is like the like jump scares weren't really like that big of a thing yet, right? So like the music wasn't the suspense was never there. There's obviously a few times where you're like, whoa, okay. But the suspense along, and I'm talking about everything, like full spectrum from the music to, you know, the camera work to the acting. Like nothing is really suspenseful in these old 80s slasher movies, you know. They're just very like straight to the point. Like like he'll just pop up and the music will be have like a little like ditty and it'll be doo-doo-doo, and you're like, "Oh, okay. All right." I don't know if that worked, you know, but I don't know if like soundtracks and like scores were as important in slasher movies in that day and age, you know?
I think
So
this one came out like really quick too. So I think like everything's just like,
Yeah,
all
get
right,
it
come on,
out.
let's get it out. Let's get it
Right.
out. Hey,
Right.
right.
what should we do with Freddy in the pool? I just have him spill some chips,
Yeah.
you know.
Just have it start boiling. The water just start boiling
Turns
the hot
into a hot
dogs.
tub.
Yeah,
Oh no, like
seriously.
the beer explodes. That's
And
what
I just love like the change of everything is like is it Lisa? Is that her name?
yes.
Yes.
And she's just like all of a sudden like I love you, Jesse, like talking to
Yes.
Freddy. And then that's like his turning point, Freddy being like, "Oh, like this girl's on to me." You know what I mean? Like for the rest of the time, every time he sees her, he's like, you, like I'm staying away from you. Like you're gonna fuck me over in the end, you know? Such a weird like concept, you know, but obviously works, especially in that time. So, um, I'm trying to think of what else I had that I was really impressed with. Really, just I think the makeup covers it, man. The makeup for me was incredible. I thought he was
Yeah.
great. Not a lot of like one-liners in this movie. We weren't really doing the one-liner thing yet.
Yeah, no
Um,
swearing.
yeah,
I was
yeah,
waiting for like the one,
That
the
didn't
one
start
line.
until part three, because
Yeah.
yeah,
he starts,
yeah,
prime time.
yeah. Exactly, exactly. Yeah, so it was like that didn't really, you know, that wasn't part of the iconic character yet. I really think the makeup carried it in this, man. Like where, because even the kills, I mean, it's a lot of slash and gash and that's pretty much it, besides obviously that scene where he
Uh,
comes out of
that and Grady,
Jesse.
I think, kind of stabs
Yes,
him.
that was a good
Um,
one.
which I was surprised because afterwards I was trying to think like, okay, what was my favorite kills of the movie? And I was like, there's not really a whole lot of kills. And apparently this is like one of the highest kill counts of all of his
Really?
movies because if you count all the people at the pool party
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, then it's
and
just a
the
bunch of
birds.
slashing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
But really
the coach, right, was a more and that's a weird death too because he's kind of like naked in the shower and then he
Well,
slashes his
are
back.
we going to agree that Freddie actually saved Jesse from the coach?
I would agree. I would
I mean, he
agree.
sees him at the
yeah,
club. He brings him back to the school, makes
that
him
was
get in the
weird.
shower. I mean, come on now. I mean, like, time out. Freddie was the hero in that
Yeah,
scene. He
there's
was
like
like,
this
wait
there's
a
a
minute. He's like, I'm not this evil. Let's
Well, he
right.
is. He's like, I
yes.
recognize that.
Yeah, it's very odd. Like, and he's like it's there's an underlying theme of abuse there, right? Like, it's very weird.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
and he's whipping him with the towel and stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
Also, in that scene, it really stood out to me is the whole time he's being attacked by all the sports equipment and all the balls are like flying at him, he never stops chewing his gum and he never says anything. It
yeah,
just
very odd. And he's in like his like leather like vest, which is interesting. Like, you know,
He
he's
does
at
not take
that.
it off. He
No,
does
he's
not.
at. It's such a weird like turn of events, like or sequence of events where like you're at this bar, your coach finds you. You don't expect him to be there. He doesn't expect you to be there, and then all of a sudden you're doing laps in the gym. Like talk about 80s move where it's like midnight and you're just bringing a kid, one of your players, to the gym to run laps, dude. Like it's such a like and like no parent would ever question that. You know what I mean? They'd be like, "Oh, you coach was making you run, or were you being dumb?" All right, I get it. You know what I mean? It's like such a weird concept, you know? And then obviously like the blood in the showers was a kind of an iconic thing for that movie. Like And I mean, just with these 80s slashers, just fog and steam and smoke, it just threw everything. And that blue hue that always turns up in a Freddy movie, just like that bluish, whether it be lightning striking or, the moonlight, it's always that blue hue. Blue or red is like that big theme, you know what I mean? When it's in a boiler room or a basement, it's a lot of red. And it's when it's
Yeah. And
outside or in a house, it's a lot of blue.
And
in
let's
the
go
boiler room, there's a lot of green and red too.
Yeah.
In the boiler room.
and
Yeah,
let's not
exactly.
forget, like, let's go ahead and throw logic out the window. Nothing needs to make sense. We're
No.
just, we're
Definitely
just
not.
gonna flip and do a Uno wild card every scene.
Yeah,
You
well,
know,
like I mean, it really turns like because I was like, nothing really stands out to you until he finally comes out of Jesse's body. Then it's batshit crazy. Like the
Yeah.
first like 45 minutes are pretty tamed, like kills, pretty tamed slasher movie, and you're getting away. Obviously, he's having nightmares and stuff, but like this is more in like real time. You know what I mean? It's not like one of those things where he's fallen back in to like fight Freddy and all this stuff. This is all real time stuff where like it reminded me a lot, honestly, of like a werewolf movie.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like the changes Jesse's going through with like, moving to a new town. You see that, within the transformation of him into Freddy, we get obvious body dysmorphia, right? Like we get a lot of body changes. We get him telling people to run away from him, trying to protect them, like it's happening, it's just the only thing you're missing is like the moonlight, it's like, but it's basically the same type of
Yeah, when
Oh
he's
idea.
yeah.
sleeping. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm wondering if there was any talk about that when this, writer put the script on the table. He was like, "It's gonna seem like a werewolf movie," and that's kind of what I'm going for, but it's just gonna be Freddy instead.
We really don't get much Freddy in this movie either. He's like in the movie for like about 10 minutes
Yeah.
for their full hour and 30 minutes.
Yeah, I was listening to an interview with the girl with Kim Myers talking about how this when she was given this script to read, the reason she wanted to do it is because it was a love story. Like this is a love story between Jesse and Lisa. Like that's really what it is, and it focuses mainly on that. And you don't have the stupid like what it does well is it doesn't have that like no like she believes him like almost immediately. You know what I mean? Because obviously she has um, the diary and stuff like that. So it's like she's already like kind of hinting. She believes him like right off the bat. It's not one of those things where like no one believes you. Like obviously some people don't believe him, but okay. So there's the one scene where he's like, "Yeah, something's wrong with this house, man," and they're all like, "No," and then the toaster just lights on fire. I'm sorry, but if my son was like, "Something's going on with this house, Dad," and then the toaster lit on fire behind him, I'd be like, "Yo,
Not plugged in.
we're outie, dude. Like, we're not
That's what I
staying
said.
here."
And then
Was
nothing happens.
was
Yeah.
this after the birds exploded? Well,
Yes.
before murdering the first one? Oh my
Yes. Yes.
goodness. I
Yeah.
would
And he
have
Well.
assumed that
bounced.
he put an M80 inside the bird while they were all
Yeah.
standing there, lit it like with a long
Well, what was
fuse.
it? They thought it was a gas leak, right? Because the mother thought she
Yes.
smelled gas, right?
Yes.
But
And
the
he's
whole
like, "It's
house
not the
didn't go up.
gas." Yeah. Right. Yeah. That
All
was
right, boys. What would you
weird.
rate it?
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 3.6. I had a lot of fun with this movie, dude. I really did.
Oh, it's a
3.6
great
out of
one.
5. I had a lot of fun with this. I
Yeah.
I didn't realize I liked this movie as much as I did, but I was really in awe of that scene where Freddy comes out of Jesse. I know that like the famous part of that is the stump him coming out of the stomach, but I really really like the hand. I think the hand looks great. You see a little bit of his sweater, the knives are coming out of his fingertips, like the skin's ripping off. It was very well done. I really, really liked that part. So I forgot, I didn't realize I liked this movie as much as I did. So I'm going 3.6, 2 points off from the Scream. So that would have put it at a 3.8. It would have been 4 out of 5, but guilty by association, and this is a little off topic, and it takes points off the movie because it's just by association. But I had Pizza Hut while I was watching. Dude, Pizza Hut sucks, man. Pizza Hut is not good. I just realized this. My nostalgia of I grew up right next to a Pizza Hut my whole
It was
life.
better in the 90s.
Literally I
Very
could throw a
much.
baseball with my left hand, which I'm not left-handed, and I could hit a Pizza Hut from my house. I'm not joking you. I'm talking when I was a kid, I used to count 10 steps to the Pizza Hut from my house. So I think the nostalgia factor got in my head. But I ordered, I'm like, I'm pretty like I'm a pretty healthy guy. So like I don't eat a lot of carbs during the week. But Friday hits, I'm like, I'm watching Freddy. I need a pizza, man. I gotta get some pizza. And I was like, this is horrible, man. This is the only way I can explain it is the Pizza Hut pizza tastes like Pizza Hut the restaurant. That's the only way I can like there's that specific taste of it. You know what I mean? Like that just reminds me of Pizza Hut. And I was just like, this is weird, man. I don't like this at all. This is terrible. So 2 point deduction. Sorry. So total of point 0.4 off. Sucks, but 3.6 out of 5.
I really hope you post a little picture of Pizza Hut as this scene airs on our
Right.
on your YouTube
Nostalgic.
channel.
Yeah,
Yes.
I should say that all in one thing so I can clip it. All right.
And all the
Yes.
So
chandeliers.
I got this movie got point 0.2 points taken off because Pizza Hut sucks, and I had Pizza Hut during this movie. So terrible. I'm sorry, it's just not good pizza anymore. Nostalgia got the best of me, man. So I'm sorry, Freddy's Revenge, guilty by association, you know? But yeah, 3.6 out of 5.
All right, Waxy Porkins. What about you?
All right, so I enjoyed the campiness of this movie. I feel like it's par for course of Nightmare. It's helped set the tone of the whole series. I think the practical effects were the outstanding point in this movie.
Mhm.
Um, Whoever was working on it did an amazing job. Um, I gotta say 4 out of 5. Uh,
Okay.
it's not, admittedly, it's not one of the best ones, but it's still enjoyable and just
Yeah,
kind of like take yourself out of it and just enjoy the ride.
agreed. All right, Steven, hit us with it, man.
Man, you know what? I when I was little, man, that bus scene was like I thought was one of the coolest scenes in all horror movies that I watched, And following, as an adult watching this movie, following the first one, a classic, right? As we know, like the first one just sets the tone and then they get goofy after this. But, for what they did in 1 year, man, I mean, they did a great job. I mean, the special effects alone, man, I don't think anyone today could do that fast,
Right.
we would be so quick to switch to, animation, or computer, you know what I mean, CGI.
Sure.
So, I loved it. Had a lot of cool scenes in it. Didn't make sense. The pool scenes was all crazy, but you gotta love Freddy, man, and you gotta love him saving poor Jesse from that evil coach, man. 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5. Yeah,
He did some heroic shit in this movie.
yeah, man. Freddie was a hero in this one, man. Thank you, Freddie. And you know what? Those kids were up to no good, man. They were about to drink and drive, hurting someone else.
True.
So Freddie, as far as I
He
see
might have
Freddie did the
saved
right thing at the
lives.
pool scene.
He might
Yes.
have saved lives.
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
those parents weren't even trying to get out the door to go
No,
downstairs.
they were getting
They're just
saucy
standing
upstairs,
there.
man.
Oh yeah.
They were getting
Yeah.
saucy upstairs.
Well, she was like, the mom was like, I'll get your dad out of here. I was like, all right, all right.
Yeah. And he's upstairs. He's like, they need to calm down. The mom's like, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what else bugged me about the movie? One thing. He's at the bar. When Jesse goes to the bar, he pours a beer in a whiskey glass.
Yeah,
I'm like, what are you
only
doing,
half, and not
man?
even a full glass.
No, just like a
A
little. He's
sip.
just like, I'm like, what do you? No, no one does. Now, to be fair, the bartender gave him the glass, so horrible bartender. But I mean,
Yeah.
what are we doing here? Like,
Like he
what?
didn't even ID him, so yeah, terrible
Well,
bartender.
remember,
He's
gang, Jesse's only 16 years old in this too. So
damn.
I mean,
So,
we got
so it's on the bartender then for giving him the
yes,
glass. Why are you gonna give
yes.
him that glass? It's like on set they couldn't find the right glass. I'm pretty sure it's the same glass the dad is drinking the whiskey in when they're in bed during the pool party scene.
Oh, I have to
So
go
like
back and see.
they probably literally just had that one glass on set, and they're like, just use that one. Fuck it.
The community glass.
Yeah, the community glass. Yeah, so that bugged me, but it didn't take any points off. I let it
Okay.
slide. I let it slide. It's all good. It's all good. I get it. It's the 80s. Everybody was on cocaine and shit. We
Having
get
a good old time.
it. We understand what was going on in the 80s.
But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I would say whoever's watching this, check out Nightmare on Elm Street Part Two,
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Freddy's Revenge.
Hell
It was
yeah,
a it was
man.
a good one.
Dude,
I don't
I forgot how good it was actually.
Yeah,
I really
yeah, I'm
did.
gonna have to go back and rewatch the whole series
it's a
now. So
I think that's what I'm gonna do. I just pulled it out of I haven't set up my movie studio. I feel like I say that every fucking episode, but like I haven't put together my movie studio in the new house. So like I got all my shit packed away right now, and I went and looked for it, grabbed I have like the 8 film collection or whatever, and I pulled it out. I was like, I might as well just keep it out and burn through these this weekend, man, because it got me in the mood. I might watch Dream Warriors, but we'll see.
oh
We'll see what
man.
happens. We'll
the
see what
best
happens.
soundtrack.
Yeah, for sure. But
We should do one more episode this month and just do another random Freddy
do
Krueger
another
movie.
Freddy. I like it.
That
Yes.
sounds
I
good to
like
me.
it.
Jared, you're invited, brother. You're
Well,
invited.
Awesome.
to be honest, what else do we have this month? Isn't St. Patty's Day this month? Is it
Yes.
is it March?
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
I feel like we need to do Leprechaun or
I
some
was
shit.
just about to say one of the Leprechaun
Might
movies.
have to do
Just do a
Leprechaun,
should we
bro.
just do like Leprechaun or a random Leprechaun?
Oh
Back to
God,
the hood.
that's a great movie.
Back to the
That's
hood.
a great movie, dude.
That'd be a
Great
fun
movie.
one to talk about.
Dude, he gets ripped up in that movie with that
Man,
dude. That movie's awesome. Um, but yeah, this is it for Freddy's Revenge, episode 5 of Fright
yes.
Film Freaks on Crooked Crypt. We appreciate you guys joining us. Jared, Steven, thank you very much. Let us know what you guys think in the comments and make sure you click that bell, man. Subscribe to the channel. Plenty more Fright Film Freaks episodes coming out. Got plenty of movie reactions coming out, trailer reactions. Got other episodes with guests for interviews and stuff like that coming out as well. So make sure you guys stay tuned and we appreciate it.
John, do you ever sleep, brother?
Dude, not much, man. Not much. I
Ah,
go hard.
dang.
Trying to get back on my grind, bro. Between watching movies, doing this, and working, it's got a lot to do, my man. Got to stay on my shit. I got to stay on my grind.
The
That's what it's
man.
about. That horror grind, my man. All right, guys. We'll see you later.